Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from anywhere that you are joining us. Welcome to our masterclass for today. Hi, to please confirm that you can hear me loud and clear.
Hi, Chukemeka. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. It's good to have you on the session today. We are going to be having a very interesting discussion for tonight. So I'm going to bring up my slide to start off this session, and then we are going to immediately jump right into our discussion for today. Okay. And if you're on the call and you can hear me, please feel free to also introduce yourself. Just type in your name and where you are joining us from. Okay. So your name and where you are joining us from so that we can start this discussion immediately. You can type in your name, Chukwemeka, USA, Chukwemeka, Canada, Chukwemeka, Nigeria, as the case may be, depending on where you are joining us from. Okay, so let's get to have that introduction, and we're going to move into our discussion for today. Okay, I can see Kwame. I think I saw Kwame yesterday. Kwame, Canada. Fantastic. I have a bridge to Canada. Good luck, Canada. What's going on today? What's going on? Toby, it's only Canada people that I invited to the discussion for tonight. To have Daniel
It's
UK.
for
All right.
UK.
Okay, amazing. We'll have Syria UK. Okay, I'm still waiting for people from Nigeria as well, from Ghana, people from South Africa, people from any African countries as well. Please also feel free to type in your location. Okay, I have Cyril from UK. I have Osasu from Canada, Precious from UK as well. Fantastic. We'll have Canada, we'll have UK, we'll have Nigeria. It's good to have you all on the call for tonight. And we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, and that's the only cybersecurity roadmap for non-techies in 2025. Okay, the only cybersecurity roadmap for non-techies in 2025, skills and salary reviewed. Okay, so we're going to be having a in-depth discussion on cybersecurity for you to understand what cybersecurity is all about, the skills there, the pathways, so many things that pertains to that exact career path for you to now have a detailed explanation on how you can also be able to be a cybersecurity expert. Okay, we're also going to be talking about the skills that you need for you to be able to break into that career path. Okay, I also love to know if today is the first time that you are joining any of our session. If today is the first time you're joining our session, please feel free to type in a 1. But if you've been here before, like Kwame, and I can remember Kwame yesterday from my yesterday session, please also feel free to type in a different number as the case may be. All right, but if today's your first time, please feel free to type in a 1. Amazing, I can see a couple of 1s in the comment section. iPhone 13, today is your first day. Precious, Zan, Cyril, today is also your first day. But Kwame and Sasu, I guess they've been here before. And also, I want to us to also type in, if you have a particular question, a burning question that you want us to answer for you, please also feel free to put it in the chat box, and I'll make sure that we'll handle it before this session is over. Okay? Or anything that you want to take out from this conversation, please feel free to put it in the chat box so that we will be able to take it and handle it before this conversation is over. Okay, and before we jump right into the discussion, we'll have close to 40 people on the call for tonight. All right, if you know anyone that this discussion for tonight is going to be very, very beneficial to, please also send the link to this meeting to them, your friends, your family members that you know that they need to know the roadmap for cybersecurity for anyone, for non-techies in 2025. Please feel free to share the link to this conversation with them. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the discussion and also get started. But before I do so, for people that our network might be shaky, or for people that also want to be able to have access to the slide that we're using for this discussion, and also the recorded version of this class, please make sure that you fill the attendance form that my colleagues will be dropping in the chat session, okay? They're going to be dropping the attendance form. With that attendance form, that is what we are going to be using to send out the video recorded version of this class, and also the slide that we're using for this conversation, so that personally on your own can also go through things that I've put in there to have a general understanding of what we are talking about. So we are going to get started immediately. All right. And first, I want to talk to you about equalizing exact discussion. And it's no other height. Okay. I think my screen is taking time to shift. And it's no other people than 10 Analytics. And we are the leading educational company that is helping people of the Black community to break into the tech industry. Okay, so what do? We use project-based model to teach you how to learn that skill that you're looking for, get the experience, and then land roles. And for over 4 years, we've helped close to 3,000 people without any technical barrier background to move from a classroom into landing jobs in US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and of course, Asia. And the major courses that we offer ranges across data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, HR product management, cybersecurity, and then soon to come AI engineering. And how do we do this? We'll have amazing instructors that come from leading education companies like PwC, like KPMG, like Deloitte, come back to classroom to walk you through all this experience, all these technical aspects, the skill that you need with respect to breaking into the tech industry. And who am I that has been speaking to you for the last 5 minutes? My name is Chukwemeka Eba, and I'm a technology business consultant with nearly a decade of experience doing this, right? In GRC, that's governance compliance, also strategic consulting. Currently, I am the CEO of Analytics, where I've helped close to 2,000 people without any technical background to move into the tech ecosystem and landing their first jobs. Okay, my experience spans across several different areas: GRC in the banking sector, head of control in the fintech sector, also data analyst also in the fintech industry, and of course, a business consultant in the hospitality sector. I've worked in the financial service market, I've worked in the capital market, I've worked in the hospitality sector, and presently I am in the educational technology sector. So feel free to follow me across my socials: LinkedIn at Chukwemeka Eba, Twitter at Emeka_Heist, and then Instagram at Eba_Chooks. And you can also be able to personalize this discussion and have a more personalized conversation. Okay, and with me tonight is not a person than amazing cybersecurity expert. That's no other person than Oluwatobi Okafor. Hi, Toby. Do you want to say hello to the house?
Hi, everyone. How are we all doing today? I hope we are having an amazing time. My name is Oluwatobi Okafor. I'm an information security analyst. I currently work with analytics, as you all know. I have been a pen tester, I've been a cybersecurity analyst, I've been a cyber threat analyst in different notable cybersecurity companies. I'm an ISC2 member, and I have certifications such as the CCNA and ISO IEC 20701, among many others. And I believe that we would have a lot of fun today, and I hope we're willing and ready to learn as much as we can in this session. Thank you all for being here.
All right. Thank you so much, Toby, for that wonderful introduction. Toby is trying to play safe and remain calm. She's a senior cybersecurity expert, actually, pen testing, analysis, threat analysis. Just call her name and she's going to be there to answer you. And tonight, she'll be driving the conversation that we're having tonight with respect to you understanding what cybersecurity is.
Hi, everyone. While we wait for the connection to settle from Chukwemeka. So basically what he's saying is that I will be driving the conversation tonight concerning the roadmap that works best for people that are non-techies that are coming into cybersecurity. And I believe that there is absolutely no way that you want to get into cybersecurity and you feel like, oh, I cannot do it. The beauty of cybersecurity as a whole is that everybody, whether you were a banker in your previous work, in your previous skill set, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are a medical doctor, whether you are even an artisan, right? You bring something to the table in regards to cybersecurity that makes it easy. I'll use the word easy for you, or not necessarily easy, but not hard to transition from non-tech which we all know is a tech role. So like I'd like to ask us before we continue to talk to me. I'd like to know what you currently do. If you don't mind, you can put it in the chat. You can tell us what area you currently are working in, so that I can tell you what role exists for you in cybersecurity as a person. Who would like to go first, please? Hi, who would like to go first, please? Or would you rather drop it? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm seeing the chats. I am seeing the chats. Amazing. Okay, beautiful. So Kwame says it's from accounting. Moses says it's from marketing. Daniela says she's in healthcare. iPhone says healthcare and safety. iPhone, can you tell us what name to call you? Because I feel like calling you iPhone is not really nice. Luther says he's a lawyer. So let me start with Kwame, for instance. So Kwame is in accounting. When you transition into cybersecurity, you're going to be transitioning as you're going to be using your skill set as a cybersecurity professional, right? And you're using it to become a role that we refer to as an auditor, compliance analyst, or an auditor, right? Or audit analyst, or better still, we call you a security compliance analyst. So in cybersecurity, we have what we call digital forensics. All right, iPhone, thank you for telling me your name. That is Charm. All right, thank you for that. So for an accountant, who a forensics accountant or a digital forensics analyst. Basically, what you would be doing properly, right? Your forte based on where you're coming from, right? You understand how to audit, how to go through details, how to find things, right? You understand where to start looking from. Now, let me take Moses, for instance. Moses is in marketing, right? We have something we call cybersecurity sales. So cybersecurity sales engineering is actually a role that even if you don't want to go into sales or marketing and what have you, you can use your skill set as a marketer to handle SOC, right? You can work in SOC, you can work as a security awareness analyst or a trainer. You get, because you have that ability to sell people, tell people what they need, especially when it comes to awareness and training and stuff. You can be a GRC specialist, you can be a GRC analyst. That is a cybersecurity. For healthcare, you all know that if you're in healthcare right now, you know HIPAA laws. You know HIPAA laws, you know GDPR laws, right? If you're in the EU, you know GDPR laws. If you're in the US, you know HIPAA laws. You know that this is actually an active role for cybersecurity in your field, right? In your industry. So you know that there is absolutely no way you as an healthcare professional can release your patient's what's it called? PII or PHI, that is your patient's personal identifiable information or their personal health information with written consent, right? So imagine you are in of the person that makes sure that these policies and procedures are put in place in your industry. Do you understand, Daniela? Same thing goes for Charm, right? And then Luther is the lawyer. Luther, your role is the funnest role as far as I'm concerned, because you are the policy maker, you are the governance analyst, you are the compliance analyst, you are the risk analyst. Do you get? Steve Jobs, your name is funny. So Steve Jobs, you are the software engineer, you are our ethical hacker. You are the one that understands how applications work. So you are application security engineer, the application security analyst. You are the type of person that I would employ if I had to employ somebody that had cybersecurity skills and software engineering skills to handle my infrastructure, right? I know you understand what I mean by that. So you know that it is to be as easy as pie to a large extent when you have to do some very, very in-depth what's it called? Language code compiling, code reverse engineering, and what have you. So and the beauty of it is that for everybody here right now, there is a niche in cybersecurity for you. That's the beauty of it. So just because you're not a techie or you are coming from an entirely different tech aspect or background does not mean that you don't have something in cybersecurity. That's the beauty of cybersecurity. There is nowhere you work right now. So if you're working in the food industry, there is something cybersecurity has to do with the food industry, right? If you're working in the finance industry, you all know that cybersecurity is like, it's not negotiable, right? You know that if you're working in, even if like iPhone 13, that's the beauty of it. You get to pick. You don't, and the beauty of that for everybody else, you don't have to stick to, okay, I'm coming in as a marketer, or I'm coming in as an accountant, I'm coming in as a lawyer, I can only do GRC. No, that's not how it works. The beauty of cybersecurity is, okay, I was telling Chukwemeka recently, I have a nutritionist as a very good friend. She's currently an application and database security analyst. Are you seeing the disparity in where these people are coming from, right? So it is not that you have to stay where you are used to. The beauty of it is you can be wherever. And the beauty of cybersecurity is that you can choose a niche that is low code or high code. Like Cham said, coding is the issue. You don't have to code in cybersecurity. You do not have to code in cybersecurity. I promise you that. I'll give you my friend's example. Obviously, she came in with absolutely no idea of what coding is about, right? And you can see that it was easy for her to, it was not easy, but it was not difficult from being a no into a full-on, because you are application, right? So I want you to come with the mentality of there is absolutely nothing I cannot achieve as long as I practice, I put in the work. Do you understand? I do everything I want. You will whatever niche you want to specialize in cybersecurity as a non-techie. Now, imagine yourself as someone who understands code to a small extent or a large extent. You then get to say, okay, I want to be a GRS analyst, which is basically the no code part of cybersecurity. You get to be a risk analyst, which is no code. You get to be a compliance analyst, which is no code. You get to be so many things, right? Oh, apologies for that. Apologies for that. Is it better now? My voice better now, please? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to hand over back to Chukwemeka to continue, and then I will step in again to talk to us more about what we came here for. Hi, Chukwemeka. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, Lara and Claire. Yeah, thank you so much, Toby. Thank you so much. And I love the way you handled the session fully. And I hope for every other person will be able to see that there's possibility for you to actually play a role in the cybersecurity industry. Someone said, oh, I'm a civil engineer. How can I fit in? I studied civil engineering too, and I started off from GRC. So when it comes to cybersecurity, always see it from the aspect that it is possible. All right. And first thing that we're going to be doing today is to walk you through understanding cybersecurity skills, and then the salaries, and also we talk you through a practical masterclass for you to see how it can also easily be done using the tools that align to cybersecurity. So first thing, we're going to help you understand cybersecurity fully, then the skills that you need, and also the possible salaries and the different domains that also exist, and also a practical masterclass to show you some of the tools that you are going to be handling in the class and how you can easily be able to also learn. Then number two, we're going to walk you through the pathway to becoming a cybersecurity professional and landing a job. Because the most important thing is not just, oh, I want to transform to cybersecurity. It is securing a job. I'm sure that is what 99% of people here wants to be able to achieve. And then we'll also walk you through the growth internship program. Like I always tell everyone, when it comes to the tech industry, landing a job is 100% about the skill and the experience you've been able to get over the years. Okay, and I'm also going to show us an interesting thing and then walk us through a special discounted offer for you by virtue of being in this session tonight. So let's start off instantly. If you were in my session yesterday, you know that this is what I started off with. And it's simple because that is the future of job. Okay, that is the future of job. The richest man in the world made a tweet, it should be 2 days ago. And what he said is this: if you are a hardcore software engineer and you want to build the everything app, please join us by sending your best work to code@x.com. All right? We don't care where you went to school. Okay, let's look at this clearly. We don't care where you went to school. or even whether you went to school or what big name company you worked at. Just show us your code. All right. So if you see this, for everyone on the call, let's just be honest. What comes to your mind when you see a post like this from the richest man in the world? Okay. We don't care where you went to school or even whether you went to school or what big name company you worked at. Just show us your code. What comes to your mind? Let me even see how we are thinking. Okay. Let me see what we are thinking. Okay, I think people are still typing a couple of things that they want to break into and challenges they have, right? But I'm going to dive right into this because it's simple, right? The era of certification is gradually coming to an end, right? It is gradually coming to an end. And companies have noticed it. Recruiters have noticed it. Certification is just a validation of a skill that you already have. Okay, certification is a validation of skill that you already have. Okay, it doesn't in any way show that you're the best person for that role. Okay, so companies are now looking out for who can do this hands-on, who can practicalize this, and not, okay, who has CISA, who has CEH, who has CBAP, who has all those certifications that you can actually get someone to sit in for you. Okay, and because of this, companies are now looking for hands-on and experienced people. So nobody cares anymore what you have with respect to certificates, right? And that is the direction that the tech industry has fully taken. And for the richest man in the world to come out and make these tweets day before yesterday, it should tell you that the adoption is getting to the highest possible level that it can be in. Okay, so what you need to be able to do to break into the tech career path is simply show your skills and experience. All right, show your skills and experience. Once you're able to show your skill and experience, you are halfway into that role. Okay, so moving on, let's look at this practical aspect of cybersecurity that some of us used to practice when we were small. Okay, so let's look at all these vowels. Okay, A, E, I, O, U. Replace it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't know how many of us played this game while growing up. Okay, so the vowels A, E, I, O, U. Let's replace it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when you want to pronounce the consonants, let's add an R sound after them. For example, we have this. If game equals Gawon Matu. Okay, remember, we are replacing all the vowels A, E, I, O, U with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If game equals Gawon Matu, what is Pawon Matu? Let me see people that can easily move into this cybersecurity that we're even talking about. What is Pawon Matu? Because growing up, we used to play this game, and at that point, we saw it as, oh, it's just codified that we used to talk to our guys. If you have click, you don't want them to know what you are discussing. Only the people that are your click knows those primary keys. Can easily codify it and have conversations with them, and nobody will know what you're talking about. Okay, John O mentioned fame. Daniela mentioned fame as well. Fantastic. I don't know whether people are correct. Let me see the last person's response, next person's response rather, so that I'll confirm if you guys are correct or not. If game equals Gawon Matu, what is Gawon Matu? We've replaced A, E, I, O, U with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think I have 4 responses that is saying that the answer is fame. So you guys went to school that period, they will give you 1 + 1, and when you come to exam, they will not ask you square root of 34 minus minus the square of 7 is what? So here is now my own question. Now decrypt 3 la 4 vatu tatu kaha. It's very simple, right? Let's decrypt 3 la 4 vatu tatu kaha. Let me see people that can actually think and be able to easily break into this cybersecurity career path that we're talking about. Your time starts now. Let's decrypt 3 la 4 vatu tatu kaha. John said love tech. No, that is not correct. That is not correct. Look at it clearly. 3 space la 4 vatu, then tatu kaha. Okay, make sure that you look at it clearly, because if you leave some things out, then there is a possibility that you will not get it. John said, I love tech. TJ mentioned, I love tech. Kalama, okay, also mentioned I love tech, and that is actually the answer. I love tech. Now, this is the idea of cybersecurity actually. Okay, and the way you've been able to decrypt this, that's how you can also be able to decrypt encrypted messages once you have the primary key to that. Remember, I first of all gave you the primary key, which is AEIOU. Let's replace it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if tomorrow I want to discuss with Toby and I decide that, okay, AEIOU, I want to replace them with now 12, 13, 14, 15, and we're now communicating with regards to that new primary key, it means that you will not be able to decrypt it anymore because you don't know the primary key that I've assigned to all those things. So this is simply how cybersecurity actually works. As simple as that. So you don't have to crack your head. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Once you understand the basics, you can easily break into the career path. And I'm happy that some people were able to get the I love tech. I don't know, John TJ Kalaman, have you ever played this game before while you were growing up? I know for people like us that grew up in the village, I played it a lot of time, all right? But I want to just gauge if you guys played it before while growing up, or if today is the first time you are coming in contact with this kind of game. So I also know whether you just picked it instantly or you used your old experience. We also have the other ones that can go ahead to also try to decrypt, and that is what is Watu, Watu, one, la la, wa one. So when you look at my screen, you understand what all those things are saying, right? And then personally, also try to decrypt it and then be able to answer all those questions. This is my first time of seeing this. That's Emeka. Oh, Emeka, amazing. You're my namesake. Well, maybe you grew up in a more advanced places than I did, all right? But that's by the way. So, but the idea is simple. Once things are encrypted and you don't have access to the primary key, there is no how that you can be able to decrypt that message. And that is simply how cybersecurity also works, okay? So you can go ahead to try to decrypt the other one that we have in the slide and then tell yourself whether you got it or whether you didn't get it in the end. Okay, so please make sure that you fill the attendance form so that you have access to the slide that we're using for this discussion, okay? So they have access to the slide that we're using for this discussion for you to now go through it and look at other things that we also have in the slide specifically. Okay, now clearly, before Toby comes up to drive us with the session, let me just address what cybersecurity is all about. Okay, so the same way you have your phones, you protected your phones, your WhatsApp for someone to access it, they need to have your facial recognition. For someone to even enter your phone, there's a password. You've tried to block out external influence from any device that you are using. Okay, that is simply what cybersecurity is all about. Okay, it's a practice of trying to protect the systems, networks, and data from digital influence. Okay, so that it means that it's only people that have influence over that data, over that network, over system that can be able to access it. And the primary role is to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Okay, so it's simple. What the cybersecurity expert is going there to do is to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. Okay, and the goal can be visualized using what we call the CIA triad. You can see clearly confidentiality, you can see availability, and then also integrity. And this is simply what cybersecurity experts do on day-to-day basis to make sure that all the digital data are all protected. And all these things that we've talked about, CIA triad, everything that you are going to be seeing in cybersecurity has a dotted line of action towards it. Okay, everything that you'll be seeing in cybersecurity has a dotted line action towards it. And I have a couple of examples on that. You can see the first one is confidentiality. And that's what we talk about, encryption, data at rest. The data that you stored in your systems or in transit, the one that you've copied through any external hard drive and they are moving with it. You have to make sure that they are encrypted. And once it's encrypted, it means that even if it gets to the wrong hand, they will not be able to decrypt it. For someone that was not at the beginning of this conversation, if I ask the person, okay, what is Fatu, Fa1, Matu? the person will not know what we're talking about because the person was not here when we shared the primary key. But anyone that was here at the beginning of the conversation can easily be able to decrypt what we are talking about, and that is confidentiality. Okay, and we also have tokenization and masking that are all attributes of confidentiality. Go to your mobile apps, you can easily see the avenue for you to mask your balance, and it's simple. So that once you are performing activities on that platform, if someone is looking at your phone or at the device that you're working with, they cannot easily be able to know what that data is talking about unless they decide to unmask it. Okay, when you look at integrity, it's the same thing. The data that I'm providing for you, what's the guarantee that it is valid? What's the guarantee that the integrity has not been altered, that it's coming from me? Okay, and that is where hashing comes in, and also digital signature. For instance, let me give you an example today. Someone sent an email to one of my colleagues and saying, like, trying to, impersonate me and say that the message is from me now. But because the person don't know how my digital signature looks like, when I saw the email, I said, clearly this is not from me. Because any email that I'm sending out from my own platform has my digital signature attached to it. Okay, and anyone that is at the receiving end can comfortably know that the integrity of this message is not in doubt. So these are also things that you need to know with respect to cybersecurity. Encryption has to do confidentiality, integrity, we're talking about your digital signature, and of course, access control is embedded in almost all these things. If, for instance, you are in analytics working with us and you are not in the, let's say, finance department, the possibility of you knowing, okay, this is the amount that came from so and so people, or the amount that came from this person is slim. And it's because there is what we call departmental hierarchy. Okay, there are some data that only some departments will have access to it. Only the people in finance will have access to. People in operations may not be able to have it. There are some data that's also based on hierarchical level. That, okay, you are just a team lead, you have access to it. You're a manager, you have access to it. So that's how access control also plays a role here. Then when we talk about availability of data, it's simply this data, at any point I call it, it will answer me. I don't want a situation where I'm pressing enter and nothing is coming out. Maybe let me give you as an example. You've gone to your mobile app for any of the banks that you're using, and you've tried to check your balance. And then you check the balance now. Before it used to be $3,000. You came back and you check, you're seeing $20. You close the app again and open it again, you're seeing $20. Would your heart fly? I mean, you're going to even get scared. And that means the data is not available at that point. Maybe they are having updates, they're doing patch management, and then the data is not available. Your mind will instantly fly. So for your data to be available, there has to be patch management system to make sure that everything is up to date. And then, of course, IDS and IPS to know when there is an intrusion and also be able to detect it. And of course, when there's an intrusion, to also be able to prevent it. So once you understand the CIA triad, there are a lot of things attached to it. Once you understand them all, you can easily break into cybersecurity. And like I mentioned, it is hard. It is easy. It now depends on you and how you want to be able to approach it, and also moving with an open mind that it is possible for you to be able to get into the sector and also be able to be a senior person in that exact sector. So I'm going to bring up Toby to walk us through, which way do I go? She's going to come up now and walk us through the way to go with respect to knowing a couple of things in cybersecurity and also having a practical master class to walk us through all these things. So Toby, you have the floor.
Hi, Chukwemeka. How are you? Thank you so much. Okay, so please, I will need you to keep sharing so that everybody gets to enjoy the experience. So yes, like Chukwemeka said, we are here because we want to know which way to go, right? What do we do? How do we get from being a non-T or being a non-cybersecurity professional?
I think you are breaking a little bit. So yeah, Toby, your voice is breaking a little bit. You may want to maybe save your bandwidth by turning off your video.
Okay.
Toby, can you hear me?
All right. I hear you. Let me do that. Is it better now? Is it better now? Can you hear me better now? Please, if you can hear me better, can you notify me in the chat? That would make my day. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Chukwemeka. All right. So we're going to talk about, first of all, before you start a job, you need to know what will I do in this role? What are the things that I'm going to be working on or working as a cybersecurity professional? How is my day-to-day life going to be? Apologies for that, John. Please do let me know when there is that kind of break so I can repeat myself. All right. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, right? First of all, as a cybersecurity professional, you are going to be involved in security planning and strategy. And what do I mean by that? Okay. As a cybersecurity professional, you are going to develop and implement cybersecurity strategies and policies. You're going to help the organization you're working with tailor any policy you design for them, their own specific needs and their risks. So you cannot say you're okay. Let's say you're working for Lapo Microfinance Bank, and then tomorrow you move to Accees Bank. Now, because they're the same banks, a cybersecurity professional cannot say they want to have the same policies for the two different banks. Yes, they are the same organization, they're in the same industry, but they are two different organizations. They have two different end goals. So your role as a cybersecurity professional, or your responsibility, is going to be that you're going to develop their own specific strategy and policy and their own type of what's it called, risk strategy, so that whatever it is that they are involved in terms of their day-to-day activities, maybe their yearly activities, their quarterly activities, you develop a strategy that fits their own needs and will cover their risks, right? Another thing you would do whilst being their professional, professional, is that you're going to help them do assessments. So your number one role as a cybersecurity professional is to assess, okay, you're looking at the organization now. What is your current security posture? What are the things you need to do as an organization, whether you're a cybersecurity organization or a regular organization or a healthcare organization? What are the things this needs to do to make sure that they are not flouting rules and regulations, they are not missing the needs of their clients, neither are they missing the needs of the regulatory bodies. Regulatory bodies exist for a reason, so that there's a standard in organizations or in industries rather, and your job is going to be making sure that every time you perform an assessment, you are meeting the current security measures that is needed for that organization. And then you're going to also help them identify vulnerabilities, loopholes, weaknesses in their infrastructure. That is part of your number one job as a professional. The next thing you're going to be doing, like somebody asked earlier, you have to know about networking. Yes, you do. So for cybersecurity, networking is the bedrock, is the foundation, or networking, depending on how you look at it, is the bedrock of any cybersecurity knowledge you want to gain. So internalities are going to be teaching you networking, and then we'll teach you network security. All right. Now, in your role as a cybersecurity professional, you are going to configure and maintain firewalls. That one is not even avoidable. I know that Chukwemeka mentioned it earlier. He said something about IDSs and IPSs, that is intrusion detection systems and intrusion prevention systems, right? You're going to understand how their environment is. So picture this, right? Your environment for your organization or your network environment is basically like you have a large compound. I know a lot of you have been in large companies before that have very big compounds, right? So imagine the network environment as that big compound, the physical one that you can see, right? And then you now enter that compound, that's the network environment. Now, your job as a cybersecurity professional is to secure that environment, right? You're going to be securing both the compound and the buildings and the things inside that building as a cybersecurity professional. That's where endpoint security comes in. Okay, so let's use our picture, our imagination as we have been using so far. You have entered the compound, you've performed network security as your role and responsibility as a cybersecurity professional, right? Now, each building in that compound is an endpoint device. So endpoint devices are like your computers, your smartphones, your tablets, your iPads, anything at all that connects to the internet and exists within that compound. metaphor now, that compound is an endpoint device. Okay, so if your printer is connected to the internet, it's an endpoint device. If you fact the company is connected to the internet, it's an endpoint device, right? So your job to make sure everything there is secure. You're not leaving anything to chance. You're not leaving anything to maybe in case of incasity, like they like to say in Nigeria, right? So you're going to implement antivirus solutions, software, implement encryption, or as a cybersecurity professional, you would also be implementing endpoint detection and response solutions. So that is specific protection for endpoints. So the way you have IDS and IPS for network, that version of IDS and IPS, but for the devices, so for each house in that compound. Like I said earlier, remember that we have secured the perimeters, just a compound, right? Secured each building in that compound. That is what endpoint security basically means. We're doing a cybersecurity professional. And like Chukwemeka mentioned, you would conduct regular software patching and updates that will help them mitigate the weaknesses you found earlier, or the vulnerabilities that you found in their infrastructure. So these are basically found in the assessments you performed on their infrastructure. Security professional, another thing that you would also do detection and incident response. So I have a friend that likes to define incident response as false. So in cybersecurity, we call some things true positive, right? So you know that we hear there's an event. If you open your laptop, for instance, and you go to your tasks, or you go to your task manager in your Windows laptop, you will see what we call an event bar. So in cybersecurity, we have events, and then we have events. So events are those things that are normal. You log into your laptop, is normal, it's an event. You enter your password, is normal, it's an event. You open the web page that you needed for work, is normal, it's an event. You close by 5 and you log out, is normal, it's an event, right? But when you as a cybersecurity professional now see that, wait, at 10 p.m., whatever time zone I'm in, to Cham's laptop. Now, Cham's laptop is, remember, it's still at work. You can carry it home, remember, right? Entry point for Cham into the network of the company is specifically at his desk. And then you know that somebody logged in at Cham's laptop at 10:05, they uploaded a file and they executed that file and they closed and they logged out and they closed. That's an incident. Why? Because at that point in time, Cham should not be at work, right? At that point in time, Cham should not be logging in. At that point in time, it should not be uploading any file for whatever reason. So as a cybersecurity professional, I'm detecting that breach and that incident. So basically what you're doing is you're monitoring security, you're monitoring and investigating for potential breaches, right? And that's Cham laptop getting a login event means that something is wrong at that time of the day. You would then pick it up and say, wait, come. There shouldn't be anybody logging in at this time on this device. It's the problem. And because it's a problem, it is now what we call a false positive. It's now an incident. It's no longer an event. It's no longer a normal occurrence. It's now an abnormal occurrence, right? So part of your responsibilities as a cybersecurity professional is to notice occurrences, the abnormal ones and the normal ones, and to know when to alert the next person in authority to take action against whatever abnormal occurrences happen within your organization's infrastructure, right? Another thing you also do is you would also analyze why it happened. You would sit with it and research and find out and investigate why it happened, what caused it to happen, and also your what now prevents future. So your job also entails you all of catching the weakness. Like I like to tell a lot of my friends, we are monitoring spirits in cybersecurity. You not go from just look for the problems or the weaknesses in this infrastructure to let me monitor and see what is going on in this infrastructure part time. right? And if I notice anything abnormal, I call attention to it immediately, and I try to find a way to fix whatever it is that has occurred, right? And that thing you'd also do, like I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about roles that you can work in as cybersecurity professional, security awareness and training, okay? You cannot take anything away from awareness. We have a saying in cybersecurity, we say that the 95% of the incidents that happen in cybersecurity occurs because of human factor. So if people working for you, then you don't have a choice. As an organization, you must perform security and training. And who does that? It is you, the professional. It is you, the cybersecurity person. They cannot give this role to somebody else to do. You do that role, right? You're the one that will educate your fellow employees that are not in IT and not in, even your fellow IT amazed that the developer will write code that is not safe, is not secure. You'd be amazed that your developer will finish create a database and they don't lock the database. You'd be amazed, right? So your job as a cybersecurity professional also involves raising awareness. So for if you have a developer working with you, what you're doing for them, we refer to that as secure software lifetime development cycle. You help them, you teach them how to inculcate the habit of sanitizing their code. You will teach them as a professional writing. It is clean code they're writing. It's secure code they're writing, right? They don't leave anything open. They don't leave anything for any, like say we say in Africa, you don't leave any gap in the, no matter how small. And then another thing you do as a cybersecurity professional is access control and identity management. So your role, wherever you find yourself, is a compliance analyst or this, as long as you are working for that organization, you are most likely going to be involved in IT department. But in that department, whose dedicated job is to manage identity and access, right? And we call it IAM, right? Basically, what you're doing is you're managing user access to their systems, to the resources, and to the time they are allowed to access those resources. So like I mentioned earlier, Cham is supposed to be at work from 9 to 5. Cham is supposed to log in by, it's supposed to log out latest 5:59 p.m. Once it's 4:55 p.m. Apologies, please. Once it's 4:55 p.m. or 5 p.m. on the dot, I as cybersecurity professional, my job is to check, is Cham still logged in? If he's not logged in, if he's still logged in, I will probably give a notification, it's time to close. Why are you still on your PC? If he says, oh, I have a task I need to perform, okay, how long do you need access? That's where the cybersecurity professional comes in, right? They manage the access to these resources, because if you leave it open, like I said earlier, any Tom, Dick, and Harry will come in. Not like as if they might, they will come in, right? And there are solutions that are available to facilitate this part of your responsibilities, and you as cybersecurity professional will use them. Okay. Another thing you would do in this responsibility or role, that you would implement multi-factor authentication, right? Basically, what that means is that you would ensure that your organization has what we call something you have, something you know, and something you are, right? So basically something you have, maybe a password or a token or something you know, something you have, yes, your token, your physical token, or maybe your pass key or something like that, right? And something you know, your password or your passphrase, and something you are, biometrics, right? And then some companies are also looking into having what we call single sign-on or federated identities. Basically, what that means is that you as a cybersecurity professional will recommend or would make sure that your organization has the kind of access control that requires you to be the same person across board, such that if you log in on your company platform, you can access every other application that your company uses with that particular ID. That's a single sign-on, right? Or a federated identity. So that way, there's limited allowance for non-authenticated professionals or users to come into that space. And that is your job as a cybersecurity professional. Either recommend it to your organization or you help. Another thing you also do, and risk management. Here, you're basically ensuring compliance. Like I said earlier, we have industry standards, for numerous industries, and the most popular ones are the ISO 27001, the NIST, the GDPR, the HIPAA. I think Nigeria has what we call the NDPA, and there's so many others, right? Your job will be to ensure that they comply with the specific industry standard that matches the organization. So say you're working for healthcare now, for instance, like one of us is, right? You will not use the same standards as somebody that's working for manufacturing. You will not use the same standards as someone that's working for finance. You will not use the standard as someone that's working for, I don't know, law, right? You don't use the same standard or legal firm. You won't have the same policies and standards that you will, or regulations, right? So your job is to make sure that whatever standard that matches the industry your organization is in, they are complying with the standards and the regulatory bodies or the regulations, right? So there are requirements that are usually available. You will make sure that they meet the requirements. You will make sure that you run risk assessments and you develop risk mitigation measures, risk strategies, things that will make sure that they don't flout the rules and regulations for their industry. Because like we all know, no man is an island, right? And then you'd also make sure that in everything you do, you are putting the legal part of your the legal part of your organization first as in the compliance and risk management aspect of your job, right? Another thing you'd also do is incident documentation and reporting. So we have a joke that is run, ethical hackers don't like writing reports. But in cybersecurity, whether you're an ethical hacker, whether you are a SOC analyst, whether you eventually become a GRC analyst, whether you eventually become an incident responder, whatever role you find yourself in, you will write reports. You must document. Because how do you tell somebody that, oh, this is what happened when I was monitoring? They were not there with you. You have to tell them. You can't tell them by word of mouth, because the tendency for you to miss things is high, right? Now, let's say it happened this year, and somebody wants to use what happened this year, maybe in 5 years' time. Do they come and call you and ask you again? No, you have to document. You have to report, right? So what your is documentation and reporting. So your basically means that you're maintaining records of security incidents and investigations and what was done, like actions that were taken to make sure that the incidents don't occur again. At least they don't occur in that same manner again, right? And then you will provide this report and updates to management and relevant stakeholders. Bear in mind that not all of them are technical. So you would also be writing technical reports and non-technical reports, right? And then the king of it all, like I like to say, you're going to be a collaborator and a communicator. You do not have a choice. As a cybersecurity professional, you'll be working with IT teams, management, other stakeholders that don't know anything about cybersecurity or anything about IT or security itself as a whole, right? You would work closely with them. You would help them align their security measures with the organization's goals and objectives. So you will obviously, and most importantly, be a very big collaborator and a very good communicator, right? And you would also help them understand at the level they are at what the security risks are and what recommendations would effectively make their infrastructure secure, right? And then, please, next slide, please, Chukemega. Thank you. So, like we were mentioning earlier, your responsibilities, right? So, what skills do you need as a cybersecurity professional? What skills will make you stand out as a professional, right? First and foremost, like I like to tell everybody, the number one thing is know how to do it. Have technical skills. If you don't know how to do it, you cannot effectively do anything, right? I come to you and say, I want to make a dress. If you don't know how to cut material, how do you want to even start telling me, oh, material is enough or it's not enough, right? Now let's take it back to cybersecurity. Technical skills basically involves you understanding network protocols, architecture, and how to secure the networks, like we mentioned earlier, network security. It involves you having proficiency in the different operating systems that we have, especially Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, because they're the most popular, right? And they are the most used, especially Linux and Windows. And you need to know how to secure and administer them, right? So Linux administration, Windows administration, and then how to secure them as a whole. Because if you go to most organizations in this day and age, a large number of them use Windows. The others are using Mac or Linux, right? So you need to understand how to secure these systems and how to be an administrator for them. Not like as if you have to know everything, but at least when you are looking at Windows machine, you have to say, oh, I have accessed this machine or I've accessed this device and it is secure. There's no loopholes, there's no weaknesses, there's no openings for any externals or any attackers to get in, right? Another thing you need to also have as a technical skill is knowing how to configure and manage firewalls. Remember that Chukwemeka mentioned it earlier. I also mentioned it earlier. It's in firewalls. We teach you about IDS and IPS systems, right? And this would skill set, your so every time you send, you go to www.google.com, you are sending data across the internet. You are sending a message across to Google server saying, hi, I'd like to talk to you, right? And then every time you get a response back, you're getting an acknowledgement. Basically, you have performed a transaction with Google server, okay? Now, that's data in transit. So anything you put in that particular, maybe you are signing into Google, maybe you are signing into LinkedIn, maybe you are signing into any platform whatsoever, you have put your credentials on the internet. They are in transit. Now, you are going to be understanding and learning about the techniques that secure that data as it's moving back and forth, right? You also learn about the techniques that secure data whilst it's safely in your own device, even whilst connected to the internet, right? That's what we refer to as data in transit and data at rest, okay? You also need to have the skills that involve detecting and patching weaknesses and or vulnerabilities in systems and applications. And remember I mentioned it earlier, your responsibility as a cybersecurity professional involves you knowing how to do it. So these are the skills you would need to learn and the skills that we teach in Analytics, right? Another thing you would also need as a cybersecurity professional when it comes to technical skills is the skill sets that allow you to analyze properly. So you need to you have an analytic mindset or I think when we put it in our CV, usually, oh, I have analytical thinking. Yes, you have to be an analytical thinker. Okay. You also be mitigating malware threats. So malwares are malicious software. So you can have a normal Windows software and then you can have a malicious Windows software. Bear in mind, like I like to tell people, it's the same code that was written to get the two of them. The difference is maybe one line of code that makes it dangerous to your device. Okay, so you as a cybersecurity professional, you need to understand how to mitigate the threats that come from this malicious software. Right, that are the skills that you would have. You would have skills for bash scripting, skills for PowerShell, tool development generally, and then you'd understand security basic practices, especially for cloud platforms. Very, very, very straightforward thing that you need to be able to look at the cloud platform and say, oh, okay, this is what's going on here, and this is how I'm securing this particular environment. All right. Another skill set you would have as a technical skill is securing computers, your mobile devices, your servers, and also managing and responding to security incidents effectively, right? Then the next skills you need to have to excel is the cybersecurity knowledge. Like I was saying before, is one thing to know how to do it. It's another thing to understand why you are doing it. And that's where the knowledge comes in, right? So you need to understand various cyber threats and attack vectors. You need to need to have knowledge of security tools such as the CM tool, which is the security information and event management systems, right? You need to understand antivirus software and access control mechanisms. You need to get familiar with cybersecurity frameworks and standards, like I mentioned earlier, like the NIST, like the ISO 27001, and the CIS controls. Those are like standards or frameworks that we use in cybersecurity to provide guidelines, to provide policies, yes, right? And which eventually give us processes or procedures that help organizations in specific industries function properly within the regulatory requirements, right? And then, like I mentioned earlier, another thing you need to have is soft skills. You cannot play with soft skills. Remember I said earlier that you have to be a good communicator. right? You have to be a really good collaborator as well. That's, you see that attention to detail, you cannot take away from it. You need to have a structure and ethical person, especially issues. And I think you will be talking to everybody, HRO, finance, or admin, everybody that needs to be talked to, you will be talking to them. And the other important thing I also need you to imbibe is continuous learning. Okay? Don't play with continuous learning. The beauty of continuous learning is that it helps you to stay ahead. It helps you to be one step ahead of ever-evolving threats. Now, in cybersecurity, we have a joke that as you are closing one door, somebody is thinking of how to open another door. As you are creating a better software, as you are patching your software that had maybe issues before, somebody somewhere is effectively creating a malware, right? Like I said, like malicious software that is going to intentionally break you just finished patching it, it will now break the new software that you just finished patching. You've created you are saying, oh, I have a new version of my software. It's not breakable. It's not porous. Nobody can get access to my environment. Somebody somewhere is dedicating their time, their efforts, their money into making sure that they gain access into your environment, even though you have the newest version of whatever it is you are using. All right, that's another thing you need to have as a cybersecurity professional. Okay, you do not want to play when it comes to continuous learning. All right, next slide, please, Chukemeka. Thank you. So now let's talk about what roles are available in cybersecurity. Now, if you look at this list, this is not an exhaustible list. This is just a list that encompasses what is currently obtainable in cybersecurity landscape or world today. Okay, so if you enter an organization and they give you a role that is similar to what I mentioned but does not have the exact same title as what I'm mentioning, please understand that it does not mean that you are not in your role as a cybersecurity professional. All right. So like I was saying, each one has its own specific focus, responsibilities, and currently the salary prospect we put on this list are what is obtainable in the United States. So please bear that in mind when I am mentioning figures. Okay. Please don't worry about the fact that, oh, Toby put dollars here and I got the job and I was being offered pounds or I was being offered dirhams. If you check it against what your counterparts are earning in the United States, it's going to be most likely the same or even higher to an extent, right? But well, like we said, it's a ballpark range of what cybersecurity professionals are currently earning in specific roles, right? So let's look at cybersecurity analyst, for instance. That's an entry-level role. Okay, and what you do is mostly monitoring. You do investigations of events or breaches or incidents. You implement and maintain security technologies like the firewall or the IDS and the IPS. You conduct vulnerability assessments. You help in remediation efforts. You develop security policies and procedures and what have you, right? And what do they earn currently, right? Currently, their lowest earning is $60,000 upwards, right? For a cybersecurity analysts, you're entry level, but you are earning 60,000 upwards per year. I'm talking in dollars, please, US dollars, not Nigerian naira, right? And then you have the security engineer, whose job is basically to design and implement and manage security infrastructures and solutions. They also configure and maintain firewalls, VPNs, which is basically virtual private network, which is how people that work remotely connect to their company's environment remotely, because they're not in the same location physically, right? But they are in the same location virtually. So that is what a security engineer does. They create that connection, that tunnel that allows their staff from wherever in the world they are to connect, as well as other network security devices. They perform security architecture reviews, they perform risk assessments, they collaborate with IT teams to integrate security measures into infrastructure and application. They also develop and test security tools and automation scripts. So let's say you want your staff to have a particular password policy that every 3 months, okay, every 3 months you would change your password and what have you. Your job as a security engineer will be to make sure that they have scripts in place that enable, that enforce that, right? You have SOC analysts that work in the Security Operations Center, and basically you can see how much these people earn, right? Not to bore you, you can see how much these people earn. Each role has specific things that you do, and then general things that you do as a cybersecurity professional. But you can see that it's not like you're earning peanuts, because you are putting in the work to provide a really good environment for your company, right? So what do you, as a non-techie, need to do to thrive? The first thing you need to do is to start off strong. Come with the zeal to learn. Hi, Chukwemeka, please can you change the slide for me? Thank you. So you need to come with the zeal to learn. You need to come ready to position yourself to gain knowledge. Then you need to understand that the landscape is continuously evolving, so you need to stay updated, right? And then build a professional network within cybersecurity community. So don't stand alone and say, oh, I can do it on my own. No. Connect with people. Make friends in the profession. Reach out for what's it called? For networking. And then gain hands-on experience via internships, via personal projects, via volunteering. We offer internships in analytics because we know that it helps to what's what I'm looking for now. It helps to reinforce the knowledge that you are gaining as a cybersecurity professional. Now, I'd like to show us how we teach analytics. Like I said earlier, we are a practical focused organization. We don't believe in just talking and not showing you how to do it. Remember, we talked earlier about different types of things that you would do as a cybersecurity professional. You would secure, you would assess, you would this, you would that, right? So I am going to be showing you today, I'm going to be showing you how you would typically scan for vulnerabilities within a network. All right. Hi, Chukwemeka, I'd like to share my screen at this point so that they can see what I am doing.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you for that. Okay. Please confirm when you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Amazing, amazing. So if you, I'm trying to remove this. Okay, it's gone. Good. Okay, so typically, yeah, when you come into analytics, we teach you how to use different tools, and perform different tasks as a cybersecurity professional, so that this would like reinforce your knowledge, which this will give you, first of all, the skill sets to be amazing at your job when you get the job, not if, but when you get the job, and to also come, let me use the term correct, okay? And some of the tools that you will use in cybersecurity include what we call the virtual box. So the virtual box is basically like a container, okay? It's like a house where you keep all the tools, or a house or a yard or a barn where you keep all the tools that you will use for your job, okay? Now, in this particular practical, I'm going to be showing you what tools we typically use. If you look at my virtual box manager right now, you will see that I have a lot of tools. Even the box calls it tools because there are tools that do different things, right? You see that right there I have my Kali, which is going to be my it's going to be the attacker, the person that's trying to gain access or trying to verify what is going on in your network. So depending on how you look at it, Kali can either be an attacking machine or a penetration testing machine. All right. Another thing that Kali does very well is to help you assess what is going on in your environment. Okay. it does in such a way that it uses tools that come pre-installed in it, and we teach you to use these tools as time goes on in the course of your learning or your training with us in Internalytics. So here you see that I have my Kali, I have different tools, and today we're going to be using the Kali and a vulnerable machine called Kioptrix. So the purpose of this is to show you what will typically happen in a normal setting for a company. So what we're working on today is a company that has a network that is porous. They notice that, okay, it's like people are moving our files. We don't know how. People are sending in files. We don't know how, right? It's like we have people getting access into our environment. And how is that occurring? So we're going to be simulating this environment using this vulnerable machine called Kioptrix and Kali, which is going to be the assessor in this case. So as the penetration tester, we are going to be assessing the environment of the organization that we are currently simulating, right? And if you look into Kali, please. If you look into Kali, you would see that Kali on its own has a very broad number of tools. So in Kali, we have the normal application drop-down, and under it, you realize that it has a lot of applications. And if you look at how it is even arranged properly, you have applications that work on information gathering, which will teach you how to use some of them, right? Like Nmap and Po, it has tools that do vulnerability assessments, like Nessus, Nikto, and what have you. It has tools that do web application analysis. It has tools that assess database, right? So don't think, oh, I'm a developer, I've done I've properly created my code, nothing can happen. Best believe there's a tool that can go into your database and find what is not missing, like we like to say, right? So there are tools that teach you these things, and we at Internalytics will teach you how to use a large number of these tools properly, right? So for today, we are going to be assessing the target device or target environment, because their complaint was that they had what we call sketchy network sightings. So they had, like we talked about earlier, they had incidences that they could not explain. So they had data being moved out, they had data being moved in, they had people gain access to their environment without them giving them access. And why is that? They don't know. So the first thing that would do here is to go to the target machine and check for its IP address. Like we like to say, you cannot oh wow, sorry. You cannot secure a network that you do not know what is going on in it, right? And how do we know what's going on in the network? We check the network. Is it existing? Is it callable? Are we able to reach the network? So the first thing we want to do is ping the network. Okay, now the address for that network, which is basically where the network is situated on the internet, is the IP address, right? It is how we know where to look. Where is it? Where is it situated? Where, like a normal street now. I come to you and I say, oh, I'm looking for Adewale. Okay, where does Adewale live? Adewale lives at number 2. Let me see. The Analytics Road, right? In Lagos, Nigeria. The IP address is basically telling that story. That's where networking comes in. Okay, so that IP address is saying, oh, currently, oh, what we're looking for is basically situated at 192.168.53.94. This is basically the network's address. So from the street address to the home address to the city it is in to the country it is in, as everything that that this address is telling me. Now, when I ping this, it should tell me that, oh, I'm able to reach that address. And if I'm not, I will go back there and find out, okay, why am I not able to gain access to this, right? And then I confirm. 1 minute, please. Okay, like you can see, is not reachable, not because it's not available, but because it is currently, what's the word now? On a low key, it's hiding itself. All right. So my job is to make sure that, okay, I'm able to access it. And these are the things that will teach you how to fix internal, how to work with internalytics, right? We're going to be teaching you, okay, this is a network, beautiful, we're back up, right? This is a network, and we're able to use it to do this, and it is now available. So now if I reach out to it and I say, okay, hi, are you there? Basically, which is what pinging is doing. Pinging is basically me saying, hi, environment, are you there? It's still saying, oh, no, I don't want you to access me just yet. So I come back here, and then I make sure it is up and it is running. Okay, how do I do that? I ping a regular server, which is typically in this case is Google server. Okay, and now that I see that it is, okay, it is accept. Okay, wow. Okay, all right. So these are the things I will teach you to look at in internalytics. You're seeing that it's saying that destination host is not reachable. Okay, so it means that it cannot reach the server I'm trying to reach out to. Not that he is not available, but the server I'm trying to reach out to is not allowing it to access them, right? And then I try again. Like we like to say, you don't stop because you are not able to reach a server, all right? So what I'll do in this kind of case is I would, okay, ask the system, okay, let me get access to you, right? And in doing that, it's going to allow me to restart it, okay? Beautiful. So now that is off, I'm going to start the target again and make sure that I can actually reach that target. I'm able to effectively gain access, because one thing you want to do as a vulnerability assessor or a penetration tester is to make sure that the access that you are looking for, you can actually gain it. You don't just assume that, oh, I have access, right? See what I was trying to do there before I started the scan? Is to make sure that in everything I'm doing, even while I'm simulating, I am able to have access, which is the number one thing, network, the connection. Am I able to connect? Am I able to access what I'm trying to do? If the answer is yes, then we're good to go, right? If the answer is no, then you need to make sure that you find out why you're not able to access and you fix it. That's where networking comes in and network security comes in, all right? Now, while we wait for our target to come up, let me show you the different tools that we'll be teaching you how to use internalytics. So we have the tool we call Nmap. Okay. Now, for every tool that you encounter in Kali, there is a manual, a pre-installed manual for every tool. Okay. Now, for Nmap, Nmap is a network exploration tool. Basically, the one that tells you, okay, this is what is going on in this particular environment. I have gone to review that environment, and this is what I found. I found out that A, B, C, and D is wrong. A, B, C, and D is open. Okay. And the beauty of Nmap, like I is, it's a very simple machine, but a very powerful one. Right? I call it the game changer, in the sense that it can do a lot of things, especially explaining what is going on with a particular environment. So you will see somebody in your organization's building, for instance, and you see them just crouched over their laptop and they are clicking away and clicking away. If you're not careful, they're exploring your organization's network. That's where the security professional comes in to make sure that they do not actually, they're not actually able to see the information that they're looking for. Okay, and Nmap allows you to have so many different syntaxes, which will also teach you whilst you're learning with us. Okay, teaches you how to, you can use Nmap to do target specification, like I was trying to do earlier, right? It says, okay, I want to find out if this host name is available, if this IP address is available, if this network is available. All right, Nmap allows you to check for these things. It allows you to check that the host is up, are available, and if it isn't, it allows you to treat it as though it is online. And I will show you in a minute. Okay. Another thing Nmap allows you to do is to scan for specific things. So you are scanning for a specific protocol. Protocols are how your devices and your network communicates, right? So it will allow you to scan for specific protocols. It will allow you to scan for specific order. So say you want to scan a number of ports that are open. So ports are like doorways or entryways into a network environment. All right. Now, Nmap allows you to scan specific ports and say, okay, I'm looking to see if the way to enter their internet is open. In cybersecurity, in networking, that's the port 80, right? Or port 443, that is port for secure internet transfer or secure, yes, internet connectivity or insecure internet connectivity, right? So as the assessor, I will now be checking, okay, is port 80, is it open? Is port 443 open? If it is open, it means that as an assessor or pen tester, I can come into your environment through those open ports, especially if whatever service they're running on is vulnerable or is outdated and has not been patched recently. Another thing that Nmap allows you to do is check for service version. Like I said earlier, if the version you're using on your software is out of date, or the service you're using on your software is out of date, Nmap will allow me to check that. Basically, opening you, the organization, up to the fact that there's a vulnerability or an unpatched software in your network, right? Another thing it also does is allow you to use scripts, which is basically telling your tool to look for something in particular in that network. Okay, so you can look for vulnerabilities. You can say, oh, scripts equals to vuln, basically telling it, look for vulnerabilities in this network, right? You can say scripts equals to safe, look for safe openings in this network. Okay, it does not matter what you're asking it to look for. You can specify what you want and it will look for those things in that network. And that thing that can do is tell you exactly what device the network is running on. So if I am targeting Callum, for instance, and I say, okay, I want to scan Callum's environment, right? And I want to know what kind of machine or what kind of device Callum is using. If I run an OS detection scan on Callum's network environment, I will get the information. And I will show you this in a minute. I will get the information. It will tell me exactly what OS you're using. That is, are you using a Mac? Are you using a Windows device? Are you using it on Linux? Are you using a specific version of Linux? Are you using a specific version of A, B, C, D, and E, right? And this will tell you a lot about what the target is using. And you can use that information either as an attacker or as an assessor to determine what entryways you can use to either pen test or attack, right? Either be the good guy or the bad guy. Okay, another thing that Nmap does is to tell you timing. Okay, do I want this thing to go fast? Do I want it to go slow? Do I want it to limit how many times it tries to find vulnerabilities? Do I want it to try as many as possible? Do I want it to sign out if the host is not available? Do I want it to do it again once the host is up? Nmap allows you to do all of these things. And Nmap allows you to also evade firewalls and IDS and IPSs with specific syntaxes. Now, the issue with these syntaxes is not that you cannot use them every time. Is that if you are found and you are not permitted expressly, legally, to do these scans, you will face legal repercussions, right? That's why we encourage you and we reinforce integrity as a cybersecurity professional. I mentioned earlier that your ethics, your ethos of operation, your ethics, your principles cannot be questionable as a cybersecurity professional, right? Another beautiful thing about Nmap is that it allows you to output your findings in different formats, right? So you can bring it out as a normal file, so a text file. It can come out as a machine-readable file, which we call XML. It can come out as a grep file, which only your machine or your computers or your device can read. And it can be verbose, basically the -v, where you're telling it, oh, give me as detailed as possible. And it can be just normal, where it just gives you the basic, the most precise details you are looking for without talking too much, all right? And there's also different random syntaxes you can use with Nmap, like a single command that will do both OS detection, version detection, script scanning, and trace how your scan went. What are the things that you scanned? What are the things that you found? All right. And the beauty of this thing is that with Nmap, everything you are looking for is easy to read, is easy to understand. Once it is done with the scans, whatever it gives to you is something that even without having any coding knowledge, any what's the word I'm looking for now? Any tech knowledge, you can see it and understand what you're looking at. It's very straightforward, very simple, right? Now, another tool I want us to look at is called Nikto. It is a scanner for web servers, right? Now, these tools are basically tools that look for problems with your with your internet-facing side of your organization. So let's say you're an organization that does manufacturing. You have a website. You have on that website, you have people that pay you to supply them goods. You have people that supply you goods, right? And they still pay, they still their payment through your website. You have people that send in their own design and ask you to manufacture according to their design, which involves IP, right? Intellectual property, right? Now, if you as a company, you now leave your website vulnerable, it means that an attacker can easily access it and steal your client's intellectual property and use it, and thereby leaving you open to facing legal repercussions, right? So what NATO does is it targets your internet-facing side of your company or your organization and scans it for vulnerabilities, and it is quite thorough. I promise it's quite thorough. And we teach you how to use this tool into analytics. And that tool we teach you how to use is called Searchsploit. Okay, so what Searchsploit does is to look for the specifics of exploits, of payloads. So exploits are basically malicious software that has been rewritten in such a way that it takes advantage of the weakness of any system. All right. So we teach you how to use these different tools in cybersecurity program of analytics so that you are able to come with an army of with a very big toolkit. Let me use that phrase, such that there is nothing your company is asking you to do that you cannot very well do. Not because you know everything, but because you know enough, more than enough, to perform excellently well. All right. Now, I said I was going to show you how Nmap typically works. Okay, so prior to starting the session, I ran an Nmap scan on the same environment that I was trying to show you earlier. All right. Now, this scan is basically asking Nmap to scan the target. Remember I mentioned earlier that the target address was 192.168.53.94, right? That was where it was, that's where the network is living, right? Similar to saying Adewale is living at number 1, Atlantis Road, Lagos, Nigeria, all right? And I said, okay, Nmap, go to Adewale's house at number 1, Atlantis Road, and in 4 times as fast, that is, the T4 means that do it 4 times as fast, all right? Scan every opening, that is the -P. -P means, the P means ports. Remember I mentioned it earlier, right? I'm saying scan every opening on Adewale's house, and make sure that Adewale's house shows up on the scan. Let him not be able to say he's not available. Let him not be able to pretend like he's only talking to me through his Ring camera, right? And Nmap did that for us quite all right. Nmap was able to tell us that after I finished scanning, let me increase my font so that we can see what I'm talking about. Nmap was able to say, after I finished scanning, I found out that Adewale is at home, right? And I found out that his window, which is port 22, was open. And on that port 22, I found out that the service that's running there is SSH. And it is this version. And the version is obviously vulnerable. It's out of date. So it is vulnerable, right? Another thing I also found is that Adewale's access to the internet is also open and is running on a very outdated version of Apache. Apache is a web server, okay? Currently, we have 7 points, we have 8 points, we have 9 points. So if Adewale is still running on 1.3.2, it means that Adewale did not lock his door properly. Adewale is using this old 1970-something doors, right? That somebody can kick in at the hinges, right? And it's even telling me Adewale is using a Red Hat type of Linux and is running it on this particular version of the Linux, right? Another thing is also telling me that if I look at Adewale's door properly, I can see that the hinges are off. That is, the HTTP server is off. It is potentially risky. If you look here, it says all of these things. Like I told you earlier, these reports are readable. They are easy to understand. And how we teach it is that for everything you see here, we will now take you back to the drawing board and tell you what each term means, what each term implicates, what the implication of each term is, and then we'll teach you how to exploit the things that you find open. So say the Samba, for instance. Samba is basically how devices communicate with each other, right? We will teach you how to exploit this particular vulnerability, how to use it to your own advantage and gain access to Adewale's house. Do you understand? So that's how we teach this in analytics, so that when you are leaving us, you are leaving with not just the skill set, but you are leaving with the knowledge that I know exactly what to do when faced with situation A, B, C, D, and E. I hope we understand everything I've talked about so far. I'd like to round up at this point so that I don't keep us here longer than we need to be. And I'd like to hand over to Chukwuemeka so that we can continue. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you learned a thing or two. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Chukwuemeka, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Toby. Thank you so much. I hope we are still here. Thank you. I know you've handled a lot. You had a limited number of minutes to handle a lot of things. Now, under cybersecurity, there are a lot of things involved. Okay, so it's not something that we might or should even be able to achieve in a space of 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours. So this is a program that lasts up to 6 months. All right. Okay. It's a program that lasts up to 6 months. So when you get in, you are going to be taught in those order for you to follow it in a sequential manner, for you to have clear understanding of what you need to know. Okay. First thing is, when you're getting to cybersecurity, you're not going to dive right into, learn Nmap or learn the technical aspects. You're also going to learn those introductory aspects first, learning the CIA triad before you even learn your networking, before you even move to offensive and defensive cybersecurity. So all these things, they are all step by step, okay? So don't feel, you were left out or you were trying to grab everything under one sitting. The possibility is actually very, very slim, okay? Because cybersecurity is a very, very broad career path that you need to be able to relax and dive right into it. So we'll have a couple of things on the slide as well. How and the tech stack, the scenario overview of what we just try to handle also. So also make sure you fill the attendance form so that when you get the slide, you can now look at it and have a personal understanding to know if this is a career path that you're also looking to move into. All right, I hope we are still here. If you are still here to this very moment, please drop any comment in the chat box, a number, an alphabet, a fire, so that I'll be sure there are people that are still under the influence of our voice today. Okay, so if you're still here, please feel free to drop any comment in the chat box so that I'll be sure that there are people. Okay, I can see a couple of comments dropping from Kwame, from Richard, from Shegu, from Steve. All right, fantastic. I'm happy to know that we still have people that are here with us, and also my namesake, Emeka. All right, so let's look at the job outlook. All right, so in 2023 alone, the monetary damage that was caused by cybercrime in US, okay, it had an increase of 21%, amounting to 12.5 billion. And this is the people that even agreed to report. Because once there's an incident in your company and you report this incident, one is that a company is going to lose reputation. So for the people that reported, we had as high as 12.5 billion in US. And this should show you how vulnerable these different companies are. And it means that there are people that are needed to close all these vulnerabilities, right? And that is where you and I come in. So according to the job outlook as well, it mentioned that 1 million jobs by 2023, that's what they needed. But they had less than 400,000 trained available cybersecurity experts. And by 2025, we are looking to have 3.5 million openings. Okay, you can easily get this report from the cybersecurity job report and read more about it. But this is to show you different aspects and also all those deficiencies that exist that you and I can easily be able to break into. And all these are also different career paths that non-techies, non-technical people can easily get into, like Toby has mentioned earlier. You have your GRC, have your research analyst, you have your user access manager, you have your security awareness trainer, you have your social engineer. So all these are different career paths under cybersecurity that doesn't necessarily require you to be technical. But we always advise anyone moving into cybersecurity to at least have understanding of those technicalities. Even if you are not doing it, have understanding of it so that you can be able to move and carry every single person within your team along. And we'll have different teams, the red team and the blue team. Red team is attack-minded, while the blue team is more of a defense-focused team. So you need to also be able to determine which of those teams that you want to belong in. But here in Analytics, we'll walk you through both aspects of this for you to now be able to choose the one that you want to get into. So let's, strategize like this guy on my screen right now. Okay, so how do I get started? How do I select the right career path? Now, what I always mention to everyone is for all the courses that we offer here in analytics, how we got about them is, first of all, we scrape different job boards. And from there, we got the highest number of jobs that were posted the previous year. And then analyze this using 3 basic metrics: ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and a high rewarding salary. Okay, so we have 8 different career paths that we've selected. If you look through my slide, you can see all the other career paths that is not boldly written there. But cybersecurity is one of those 8, and that's the main thing that we are discussing tonight. But the other career paths also includes, you have your business analysis, you have your agile project manager, you have your data analytics, you have your data science, you have your data engineering, and of course, you have your financial analysis and also HR analytics. But for tonight, we are concentrating on cybersecurity. So after we got these 8 career paths, next thing that we did is to validate if these career paths are going to be relevant in the next coming years. I saw in the chat box when someone said NMAP is AI powered, all right? Another person is saying, no, NMAP has been there before. So a lot of conversations around AI and all. And this is to show you the importance of AI and machine learning, right? And if you go through the future of jobs report, which you call the World Economic Forum, you can see clearly the number 1 job that is going to grow is AI and machine learning specialist. All right, but if you look at the number 4, you're going to be seeing information security analyst. And this is a derivative of cybersecurity. All right, so if you are in that career path, it means that you are amongst the people that is on the right side of jobs. Okay, so let me clearly show this. So if what you are looking to get into is on this left-hand side, then you are amongst the job that is going to grow. But if what you are looking to get into is on this right-hand side, then that means the job that you are doing is going to decline, right? So these are jobs that will grow in the next coming years, right? And these are jobs that will decline in the next coming years. So what I always advise people is to make sure that they move from this right-hand side towards a job that exists here. So make sure that you move yourself from this right-hand side to the left-hand side towards a job that exists there. And one of the most important jobs that is going to be needed in the next coming years is cybersecurity. And one, it's simple. If AI companies are growing, if sustainability specialists are growing, if business companies are growing, they all need someone to protect their data. All right? And for the fact that they need someone to protect their data, it means that they will always need a cybersecurity person. Okay, if you move towards the next page, you're going to also see they also need database and network professional. That it is also amongst the job that is going to grow. Database and network professional. When we talk about network professionals, we are talking about cybersecurity as well. So make sure that you move from this side of jobs to this side. Okay, because if you remain on that right-hand side, then it means that it's just a matter of time before you hear, oh, we regret. Okay, but you can also be able to, hedge against all this from happening by getting a tech skill and moving to the left-hand side. Okay, I hope people are still following me. And for you to be able to get to that left-hand side, there is just 3 simple things that you need to do. 3 simple actions that you need to take. And number 1 is for you to learn. All right, for you to learn. And number 2 is for you to package yourself. Then 3, for you to apply to those roles. You can't jump it. All right, if you package yourself and apply without having the skill, it's just a matter of time before you are discovered and you are, dropped. If you learn without packaging yourself, it's even hard for you to even land a job in the first place. So 3 of them move hand in hand. Learn an in-demand skill, package yourself, and then apply to a role. So all these things always seem impossible until it's done, which is why we have a lot of people that have been able to make this switch. We have Ikmat moving from being a full-time stay-at-home mom into data, and other people that have also been able to make this switch, all right? So because of our time, I may not be able to go through all the success stories, but personally on your own, when you get the slide, click on here to watch what they have to say, so they can also be able to hear from them with respect to how they were able to also get into the tech career path. Before the session is over, I'll try and play one video from the cybersecurity person so that we also get to understand fully how he was able to enroll into the program, got a job after, and got a job while he's actually still training with us. Okay, but how were they able to do this? And how can analytics help us? It is simple. There's a 6-step career step that you need to take. And number one is for you to identify your desired career path. Okay, and by virtue of you being on this session, I'm agreeing that you've already decided you want to be in cybersecurity. Then number two is for you to learn the skill. Now, when learning the skill, this is where people make mistakes sometimes. Okay, because the truth is, knowledge is everywhere. If I want to learn something, I can learn it on Instagram. If I want to learn something, I can learn it on Twitter. I can learn it from YouTube. I can learn it from TikTok. All right. TikTok is actually a very large database that teaches people a lot of things. All right. But how do you learn? Okay. So here we have two blended approach, and that's self-paced learning and live instructor-led. Okay. So this live instructor-led is very, very crucial for your own understanding. Okay, this is where some people drop the ball when they're trying to transfer into the tech industry. Because you meet someone, oh, I've learned Excel, I've learned Power BI, but I don't know how to apply it to the business. Right? That is a great challenge, and you are not going to land a job if that is how you land yours. So there is need for you to learn using project-based model, which is where our number 3 comes in. Project-based model. For you to gain the project-based model, with respect to how to use all those tools. For instance, Toby was trying to show us how she can be able to scan vulnerabilities of an IP address, and then you can also be able to see how this is applied in the work environment. Okay, so when you have all those experience, you can speak from an experience point of view and not just from a certification point of view or from a theoretical point of view. Then number 4 is for you to have the employability skills, CV review sessions, and other things that you need for you to be able to package yourself appropriately. Then, also very important, networking. We've had instances where one of our students got a job, moved into a company, and then there was another vacancy there, and he brought someone that he was in the same classroom with. So these are things that makes it important for you to take this step for you to be able to land your role. And then number 6 is mentorship session. Mentorship session is very crucial. Some of us struggle to break into the tech industry because we didn't have mentors, right? So we learned this, this one will come out, we learn it again, this one will come out, learn it again. But when you have a structured mentor that's giving you guidelines, telling you the steps that you need to take, that is what is going to lead you to this last step, which is you have gotten the job. All right, so once you take these steps approach, 1, identify your desired tech career. Number 2, learn the skills. Make sure that you have live instructor learning, all right? And then also self-paced that's also attached to it. Then you gain project-based experience, gain the employability skills and network, and of course, be mentored. Then you are going to also be part of the people that your story will be added here as success stories of people that have been able to make the move. So I have one key question for everyone. You have a car and your car has spoiled right now, and there are 2 people before you saying, oh, I'm a graduate of mechanical engineering from Harvard University, and the second person is saying, oh, I don't have a university degree, but this is my mechanic workshop. I've repaired a Toyota, I've repaired a Benz, I've repaired an Aston Martin. Whom are you going to give your car to repair for you? The person with a university degree from mechanical engineering, Harvard University, or the experienced mechanic that has a mechanic workshop showing you, this is what I've repaired. Bring your own car, let me repair for you. Whom are you going to give your car to? So quickly, for want of time, so that we can easily move ahead. Let me see and also gauge how we've been listening to what we've been discussing tonight. Okay, nobody's typing anything. Toby, can you hear me, please? Let me be sure. Oh, Theo mentioned graduate from Harvard. Fantastic. Steve mentioned mechanic. Daniela mentioned mechanic.
So,
all right, fantastic. So,
Theo,
but
are you
Theo
sure?
mentioned that he will give the car to the graduates from Harvard. That's really a great leap of faith. All right, that's a great leap of faith. Who is Chukwuemeka? I hope he's not somebody is not impersonating me here. That's a great leap of faith, right? Because one thing that university degree is going to give you is the theoretical understanding, really. I mean, if you look through, if I ask how many of us are doing what we study in university right now, the answer is not going to be favorable. I studied civil engineering, but look at me today, right? If we go around the class, I think Toby studied statistics, but look at her today. If we go around the room and ask everyone what they studied and what they are doing right now, you're going to see that 90% of people have pivoted, and it's all about skill and experience. So most time, the experienced person will always beat the person that just has the degree, all right? And that is why it's important for you to make sure you learn using project-based model. But that is what will guarantee you to have projects that can show as evidence of things that you've learned before now, that you have in your portfolio. Oh, I've worked on this project. I've worked using Kali Linux. I've worked using Nmap. I've worked using, what's it called? Nexus. I've worked using so many tools. But these are the things that recruiters will be asking you in the end. So let me quickly walk us through the skills that I need for me to actually work as a cybersecurity professional in 2025. So it is simple. Number one, first thing you need is to understand the introductory part of cybersecurity. Okay, it's important for you to understand those introductory aspects before you now move on to the foundations of computing and network. You're learning your LAN, your WAN, your IPs, your subnetting. Of course, you're not learning this just theoretically. You're going to be learning how to use Wireshark with respect to your network topology. Right, so this is where the technical aspect comes in. Right, every single thing that you are learning, there is a tool attached to it. Okay, Cyril, yes, we give references. I'll still get to that shortly. Okay, and you're also going to learn information security principle, which is where the CIA triad comes in. Okay, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. How do they all play a role within the cybersecurity space? Before you now move on to offensive and defensive cybersecurity, how do you perform an attack and how do you defend an attack? So the same way Toby was trying to penetrate a system, that's how you're also going to learn how do I defend from being penetrated, right? So you're going to be taught all these things using tools, then cryptographic based, and of course, cyber threats and attack vectors, network security, endpoint security, web and application security, and also cloud security. Then incident response and forensics, which you should be able to allow to work as a threat intelligence officer, as the case may be. And then cybersecurity policies and compliance, which is more tilted to the GRC that we have talked about. So you're going to learn a couple of tools that is relevant to this space, all right? Your Wireshark, VMware, Metasploit, your Kali Linux, your Splunk, Microsoft Defender, and several other tools that we have not listed here. So, and how is the program arranged? So your class holds every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, right? We'll have the morning class and we'll have the evening class, all right? 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, morning class and evening class, where if you're in UK, if you're in Africa, if you're in any of the European countries, you can easily be able to join the morning class, okay? But if you're in Canada or US, then the evening class will be more preferable for you because MST time, it should be around 10 a.m. All right, so evening class 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., morning class 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., all in West African time. All right, and then the program will have two options, option 1 and option 2. The first option is 8 months. You're going to learn massively in the classroom for 6 months, and they have an internship experience where you're going to be interacting with other people working on case studies for the next 2 months. But for the 12 months plan, you will learn massively in the classroom for 6 months, and then you have an internship experience with us for the other 6 months. Okay, so the difference is in the internship. The 8 months, you do 2 months internship. The 12 months, you do 6 months internship. And you have the unique opportunity to have these leading tech companies in your CV, Tenalytics and Amdari. Okay, Tenalytics, your learning partner, Amdari, your internship company that you are going to be interning with. Okay, so you have the opportunity to say, oh, I've consulted with Tenalytics and I've also consulted with Amdari, and they are both available to provide you with references and recommendation letter at any point that you need all these things. But for you to land this role, one thing that people always forget is the importance of employability skill. Technical skill, what I've noticed in the tech industry is that we have a lot of people that we are amazing coders. Give them Excel, Power BI, SQL, Splunk, Microsoft Defender, they're going to eat it. But ask them, oh, please talk to me for 5 minutes. They can't even be able to talk to you, like have a conversation with you for 5 minutes. Okay. And that's where the employability skills come in. So technical skill and employability skill, that both 50-50 for you to be able to land your job offer. Okay. Okay. That both 50-50 for you to be able to land a job offer. And once everything I've talked about before now is technical skill, part of the employability skills that you're going to be getting is number one, CV review sessions and optimization. How do you tailor your CV down to the job that you're going for? One key mistake that people make is this: we use one CV to apply to multiple roles. And you agree with me that if you're using one CV to apply to GRC role, using one CV to apply to SOC analyst role, using one CV to apply to a pen testing role, the possibility of you landing that role is very slim. But when you have thought, how do you tailor down your CV to these jobs, and you do it, it will at least guarantee you that you scale that initial applicant tracking system. Then next one is LinkedIn optimization. How do you remain visible for recruiters to be able to see you? Okay, how do you make yourself to be visible? I was telling someone that most jobs that you see that's advertised, recruiters have tried to fill that role without advertising it. Okay, they were not able to fill it, and that's why they are advertising. If I need a cybersecurity person now, first thing I'm going to do is, Toby, please talk to your people, bring someone in-house, and let's assess the person and know if the person is suitable for us. Okay, and if we ask Toby, if we ask people in her network, and there's nobody forthcoming, we go to LinkedIn and personally headhunt people. Okay, but if your profile is not optimized, there's no how it's going to also show that you're qualified for those roles. So we're going to walk you through how you can also be able to optimize your page. And of course, how to navigate the job market. We bring in the experts into the classroom to walk you through how to be able to navigate the job market and interview prep session. You've lined an interview invite, you need someone to prepare you for those interviews. So you book a session with us and we prepare you using the SIT or STAR framework. How do you answer situation-based question, which is the STAR framework: situation, task, action, and result. Once you're able to present and answer questions in this formula, you can easily be able to land all those. And of course, job references and recommendation letter. We are available to present you with all these references and recommendations, and it's simple. When you are working with us, you're not just training, you are consulting with us. So we always advise our students to say that you are a cybersecurity consultant with analytics, all right? And while you're consulting with us, you worked on this project, you worked on that project, you worked on this case study, you worked on this. And that means they can also come to us and say, oh, we need a recommendation letter for this person, because instead we've worked with you. So we are available to present all those things at any point in time. And on the job support, you've landed a role, you are still struggling to find your feet, we're here to support you for 1 month. You can comfortably be able to move on. And like I've mentioned, mentorship session is very, very crucial. These are where you learn from the mistakes of others so that you don't repeat that same mistake. And then Upwork optimization, where you learn how to work contractual wise, $50 here, $100 here, $20 here. And before you know it, your pocket is full. So all these are things that will walk you through together with the technical skill that we're going to prepare you with for you to be able to land a role. Okay, so all these things, they are also success stories of people that have been able to make the move. Okay, you can clearly see how people join us and how they also tell their own story. So please make sure that you fill the attendance form that my colleague Yanoluwa is dropping in the comment section. Once you get it, you can click to hear what they have to say with respect to their own experience. Okay, you can click to hear what they have. You can see what Adedayo also mentioned. This Adedayo, how I got a job within 60 to 70% completion rate of my cybersecurity training. Okay, so he's not even done with his own training program when he landed a role. And this is to tell you that it is possible. All you have to do is learn the skills, train, get an in-demand skill, and package yourself, then apply to these jobs. So on my slide, all these things that you are seeing, they are all success stories of other people. You can be the next person that their own success story will be here if you agree for us to have you. Okay? And this is also a session where we brought in past students to come back to the classroom and speak to people. So instead of hearing from me or hearing from Toby, you'll be hearing from these students live and direct. So they can also ask them their own question. They can also click to watch what they have to say with respect to how their own experience was. Okay, so I think this is Adedayo.
Hello guys, how you doing? My name is Adewale Adetayo. I am making this video just to share my experience that I had with Analytics. About 5 months ago, I enrolled for a cybersecurity course with Analytics. Yeah, and when I started the course, my expectations were met. They actually shared a lot of stuff, both theories and hands-on, and the instructor was fantastic, literally. So while I was still doing the course, about let's say 60 to 70% completion into the course, I was obviously applying for jobs while I was doing the course, and I got a job as a Microsoft business advisor, solving technical problems for organizations with less than 300 employees. And I could say that doing the course was a contributing factor to me securing the job. I wanted to just affirm the knowledge that I have with cybersecurity, IT in general, because for some time, I was working as a self-employed person and I wasn't working in the IT space. So just to get back in, I needed to go through some courses just to establish the knowledge that I have and probably help me with some knowledge gaps likewise. And I could tell you that that was actually fulfilled, as I was even unable to complete the course before I got a job, and it contributed to the factor. So why am I sharing this? Probably you have something you are planning, you have a course you want to do, and you are trying to embark with Analytics. I would say you should go ahead with it. You can ask all the questions you want to. You have a group that you belong to. You guys can actually share knowledge together likewise, and you can ask all the questions. During the course that you literally know that every question you want to ask, probably every knowledge gap you have, you can really talk about it instead of doing probably micro courses online whereby it's just a one-way teaching whereby you cannot provide your own feedbacks or probably questions that you have. So guys, I will recommend Analytics. I wish you all the best in your endeavors, guys. God bless you.
All right, thank you so much. I hope we heard what Adewale had to say about his own experience with us. And what we've also tried to do, I saw someone say in the comment section, oh, I'm in December cohort, we were told it's for 4 months. Okay, so constantly we are trying to also improve our program. You can see recently last year, we got into our Beta Catalyzer program, and it's simple. Last year, we helped 350 people to move from our classroom into landing a job. This year, we want to do 700. And these are things that we put into place to make sure that we hit all those targets that we've placed for ourselves. So consistently, we are looking for ways to improve our programs and to also be able to help more Black people to break into the tech industry. And for people that are also certificate driven, right? We are accredited by the ACTD, and that's the American Council for Training and Development. So both the technical skills, you will get it, the employability skills, you are going to get it, and the certificates that you also want, you're also going to get it. So this is to give you an all-round treatment in case what you need is certificate. So maybe people that joined earlier might think, oh, does it mean that these people are not going to give me certificates? We are going to give you certificates, and it's fully accredited by the ACTD, that's the American Council of Training and Development. So what are the next steps I need to take? It is simple. Our next class is starting on February 8th. So our next cohort will be starting February 8th. And for you to have access to this cohort, you have to be able to register and join them. All right. So for the 8-month plan, the full pricing for the 8-month program is $900. But we have already discounted it for you, which means you get to save $150 if you're amongst the first 30 people to register, which means you pay $750 instead of $900. For the 12-month plan, the full pricing is $1,200, but it's also currently discounted that you get to save 20% of it and pay only $8,000. And you have different instrumental options. For the 8-month plan, you can pay up to 5 months, which means for 5 months, you are paying $150 each month for 5 months. And for the 12 months, you can pay up to 8 months, which means you can pay $125 up to 8 months for you to have your full payment paid. So for you to have access to this, what you have to do is simple. Click on the links that my colleagues are dropping. It's going to bring you to this main stack link. Okay, it's going to bring you to the main stack link. And all you have to do is to scroll down and look for the program that you want to join. Okay, so for virtue of this training, for virtue of this discussion, like we have all agreed, we are all looking to get into cybersecurity. So all you have to do is scroll down and look for the cybersecurity program. So you can see that we have training that starts every first Saturday of the month. Next one is February 8th. Next one is March 8th. The other one is April 5th. But there's no guarantee that the pricing is going to be the same. All right. By next month, by February, there's 10 days that the pricing is going to change. The discount is not going to be there. And then which means you get to pay higher. So I always advise people to join the program at any point in time that they meet it being discussed. So for you looking to get into cybersecurity, scroll down and look for the cybersecurity program. So right here, I can see cybersecurity analyst 8 months and 12 months. Because I want to be able to have 6 months experience and 6 months internship, I'll go for the 12 months track. And right here, you have the option to now select how you want to structure your instrumental payments. So you can clearly see that you have the option to break it down up to 8 months, right? You can choose one-off payment. You can choose to pay in 2 months. You can choose to pay 3 months, 4 months, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Anyone that pleases your pocket, please select it. But there's a catch here. If you decide to make payments one-off, you get to save $50 again. If you decide to make payments in 2 months, you decide to also save extra $50. And you agree with me that net present value of money, $1,000 in my pocket today is not the same thing as $1,000 in my pocket by March. So that is why people that pay off one-off and people that pay off in 2 installments get to also save a certain amount of money. But if you want to go for the 8-month track, which is the $1,000, let's click on it. Once you do, next thing you have to do is now click on secure your seat. And it's going to show you that your first payment is due today. Next one is due February 17th. Next one, March 17th. Next one, April 17th. And so on and so forth till August 17th, which will complete the payments. Once you click on proceed, you can easily fill in your details and pay for the product. Now, the beauty is this. No matter the country that you are joining from, you can make payments using the currency of that country. So it picks your geolocation and gives you the pricing in the currency of your location. So if you're in UK, it's going to give you the pricing in pounds. If you're in Germany, it's going to give it to you in euros. If you're in US, it's going to give it to you in USD. If you're in Nigeria, it's going to give it to you in AGN. If you're in Ghana, it's going to give it to you in cedis, and so on and so forth. So this is because tech is a global scale. And from anywhere, any location that you are in the world, you should be able to get into the program. The NMAP you're learning in US is the same NMAP that you're learning in Paris, the same NMAP that you're learning in UK. The difference is just in the language of installation, right? But it is the same 200%. So this is how you get to secure your spot. And after making the payment, just come back to the enrollment center, scroll up, and then click on upload your receipt here. Once you click on upload your receipt here, someone from our team will now be in contact with you to make sure that you have all that you need and prepare you for onboarding. So this is how we get to help you to move from our classroom into landing your first role. But remember, the discounted pricing is not for everyone. It's just for the first 20 people. And once that 20 slots are taken, the price reverses back to the full amount. So there is no deadline. If 20 people pay off today, then the price goes back to the full price. If 20 people pay off by Monday, then the price reverses back to the full price. So I always advise you to secure your spot because you do not know when that 20 slots are going to be taken. So at this point, I'll be taking questions from anyone. So feel free to use raise hand icon and I will call you up to speak. Or also feel free to drop your question in the comment section and I will also pick it up from there before we start rounding up for tonight. So Dami is asking, do you prepare one for certifications? So Dami, what we prepare you for is for the job. We prepare you to land a job. For instance, when you talk about certification, there are different certifications that exist out there. You have your CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, you have your CISA, you have your, CISM, you have your CNNA, so many certifications. And for you to pass certification, you need to be able to understand the diet for that conversation. For instance, if you're going for CISA, you're understanding the entire information security management system, right? If you are going for CEH, you're understanding penetration testing and ethical hacking completely. So which means you need to be able to understand the diet and study to pass exam. Studying to pass exam is entirely different from getting the skills to land a job. So what we do is we give you the skills for you to land a job. And if you started this session with us when I started at the beginning, I started off with a tweet that the richest man in the world dropped day before yesterday. I don't know if there's anybody on this call that is richer than this guy. If you are richer than him, please feel free to call my attention to it so that I will change my mouth, right? But what he said is simple. If you are a hardcore software engineer and want to build everything up, please join us by sending your best work to code@x.com. We don't care where you went to school or even whether you went to school or what big name company you worked at. Just show us your code. So it's simple. The future of job is about to change. If you are still tilting towards certification, then you need to ask a couple of questions, all right? Because 100% companies are aligned towards skill and experience. And that is why you will see an entry-level job, they'll be asking you for experience. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how do you get an experience before getting an experience? Okay, and that is where project-based learning comes in. And these are things that we do to help everyone get the skills and the experience that they need. Please, where can I find your curriculum? Amazing. So, Dami, once you go to our website, so quickly, or okay, right here in this main stack link, once you click on that main stack link, look for this beginning point. You will see get access to all program brochures. Get access to all program brochures. So what you have to do is click on it. Once you click on it, it's going to give you access to all the program brochures that we offer. So for you that is looking to get into cybersecurity, look for the cybersecurity brochure here. So you can see this one is HR, this one is full stack. Okay, this one here, that is cybersecurity. So once you click on it, it will allow you to download it and go through the brochure 100%. So this is how you get access to the brochure. I hope that answers your question, Dami. Then, Kwame, what role can I get with no background in cybersecurity after completing the course? Now, it also depends on your technical skills and where you want to approach it from. I'm sure Toby have also answered you. We have a lot of open roles for you. GRC, pen testing, what's it called? Vulnerability assessment, threat intelligence officer, so many roles, SOC analysts. I transitioned to GRC. I studied civil engineering. I didn't have any technical background. So we studied statistics. She's transitioned into a more technical career path. So no matter where you are coming from, there's always a relatable career path for you in cybersecurity. I hope that answers your question, Kwame. Okay, I don't think there's another question here. Let me check if there's a hand raised before we start rounding up for. Okay, Steve Jobs, amazing. We have the richest man, part of rich people, on the call tonight. Hello, Steve. I've asked you to unmute. Please ask your question.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So my name is Steve Jobs. I'm based in Nigeria, Abuja, specifically. Yeah, what an interesting presentation, Olua. Oluwatobi. But my surprise in this in a lighter mode, you have Oluwatobi and Okafo is a combination of Yoruba and Igbo, if I'm right. Correct me. So what I want to ask, one part that was very interesting is the virtual box or the virtual machine. I saw a lot of machines that you've installed. But my question is the base operating system, are you using Windows or the same Linux operating system? Why I'm asking, I know Linux has more of the security over Windows. I think even Microsoft, most of the servers, they're using Linux. So I just wanted to know if you were using a Windows and you installed the virtual machine, the virtual box, which other machines were installed? I just wanted to know.
Okay. Thank you for that question, Steve. So basically, yeah, in cybersecurity, you can use any machine at all in the virtual box. So the Windows you saw in my box is a virtual version of the Windows I use on my actual machine, but it's a downloaded version and it's a vulnerable version. And the reason why I have that particular tool in my virtual box is so that when I want to simulate a Windows environment, remember I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, a lot of companies use what's it called, Linux in their environment, right? So I cannot be simulating for Linux when the company I'm helping to pen test or to to perform vulnerability assessments for is using a Windows machine. So what we'll teach you is how to secure the Windows environment and how to assess the environment, bearing in mind that that's what you will typically find at your organization. That's why I have that virtual version of my own Windows operating system in my box. So it allows me to test it without affecting my own machine. Do you understand? Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Toby, for answering that question. And thank you, Steve Jobs, for gracing our occasion. It's not easy to have one of Steve Jobs on the call. All right. So I can also see a question from Adewale. So how do I choose the best course to go for? So Adewale, what we do, because we offer also free consulting services. So in the community that you joined this call through, they're going to share a link for you to book a one-on-one free consultation. So right there, we're going to look at your background, look at your experience, look at the course that you studied for us to be able to find a relatable career path that has transferable skills that you can also easily get into. Okay, so we can book that one-on-one and block our Calendly, and then we'll have that conversation. Okay, but while you're trying to book, I always advise you to secure your support so that at the point that you are done with the discussion, even if we find a different career path, we can change it from the back end for you. I hope that makes sense to you, Adewale. And Etiosa is mentioning, I am interested. Fantastic, Etiosa. Please feel free to use the main stack link and secure your own spot. I don't know if at this point, okay, there is no hand raised and there is no question in the comment section, which means that Toby and myself, we've done justice to everything that you need to know. The next step is now for you to make the bold action of breaking into tech. So like I mentioned earlier, we've helped close to 3,000 people to transition from our classroom into landing their first job across different continents, okay? In US, in Canada, Europe, and of course, Asia. We've helped different people across all these places. And our participants work in all these amazing places. I always tell everyone that NHS is our highest employer of labor. And that's because they always give visa sponsorship. So if you want to also transition into career paths that should be able to offer you visa sponsorship, then you should be looking towards most of these career paths. And our impact, we also do corporate social responsibilities over the last years, where we help people in the Black community also break into tech. Last 2 years, someone went home with $8,000 in our hackathon competition. Last year, someone went home with $2,000 in our hackathon competition. This year, I don't know how much people are going to go home with. Okay, and all these things, the appendix, they're all success stories of people that have been able to make this move before you. So you can be the next person that your own story will be here. But it takes a single step of you deciding that you want to do this for yourself. Within the next 6 months, you can become a cybersecurity expert. You can become a data analyst, can become anything that you choose to be in the tech industry. But like I always tell everybody, you need to get those skills first for you to now be able to transition. So I always say the best time to get into the tech industry is yesterday. The next best time is today, because tomorrow it might be a little bit dicey for you. When I mention to people that when I learned my tech skills, I paid 35,000 naira. Nobody believes me. Nobody believes me that I paid 35,000 naira, because those skills that we paid 35,000 naira for, that's what you are going to pay millions to learn today. So I always advise everyone, try to secure those skills at any point that they come looking at you. Okay, so thank you to everyone for being with us for close to 2 hours, 15 minutes right now, on behalf of our founder, Adeza Suleiman, and our co-founder, Efemina Ibu, and of course, my fantastic facilitator, Oluwatobi Okafor. I say a very big thank you to everyone for being with us from the beginning of the session to the end of this session. Remember, you have the attendance form to fill. That is what we are going to use to send the slide that we're using for this conversation to you and the recorded version of this meeting to you also. You have the main stack there also for you to choose the career path that you want to transition into. And in the communities that you all joined us through, you are going to see the calendaring link for you to book a one-on-one consultation for us to look at your own background and be able to choose a stable career path for you. But while you're waiting for the one-on-one conversation, make sure that you secure your spot. Thank you so much to everyone once more, and have a wonderful day ahead, a wonderful night rest ahead, or a wonderful morning, depending on where you are joining us from. Cheers, everyone, and bye for now.
Bye, everyone.